Yes.
And welcome everybody to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing. And typically we are a trio of creators on this podcast. But unfortunately, RedRomina has abandoned us tonight. And so you'll be stuck with your duo. So now your host, Audrey, I'm not responsible for the wildfires, Ember, and of course, your dark lord of the interwebs, your favorite defense against the dark arts teacher, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like and subscribe.
I'm so excited about the Hogwarts game.
Yeah.
And I don't have a PS5.
I'm excited for all the things. I'm getting that PS5. I'm getting that Xbox X Series. I'm treating myself. I work hard. I earned it. I can spend my money how I want.
And the Spider-Verse one.
Oh my lord.
That's like a double win.
So good. Miles Morales, my boy.
They got both the good ones. I saw the Spider-Verse one, was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But now there's also a Hogwarts one.
Mm-hmm. But you know, I'm gonna need in that Miles Morales, I'm gonna need them to find some way to shoehorn Spider-Gwen
in. Wait, is she not gonna be? Isn't it like? I feel like she'd be in there. No.
Not necessarily. It depends on how they do it.
Wait, when does that game come out?
That one is at launch. Miles Morales is at launch, homie. Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They got the two best franchises, at least in my book.
I think there are gonna be some people that are gonna be mad at me that I'm buying a PS5 and an Xbox for myself.
Why? Is there rivalry between them or something?
No, the fact that I'm spending literally $1,000 on consoles to play video games. I think there's gonna be some people, not necessarily in this audience, but I mean in general, if I tweeted about that, some jackhole would be, oh, must be nice, or what,
Wait, how much is a PS5?
$500 if you get the version where you can put disc in, $400 if you digital only. I think it's about the same or similar for the Xboxes.
Oh.
So it's it's gonna be $900 plus taxes for me to have both systems, somewhere between $900 and $1,000 for both systems plus the games. There's
an Avengers game? How did I not know this?
Yeah, it came out recently. I've got it. I think it's downloading for me, or it downloaded. But I bought it over the weekend. I haven't played it though.
Wait, so PlayStation has all these amazing brands on board. What is Xbox doing? What
for me, it's about the fact that I have homies who play Xbox.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're doing some stuff though with their content library though, and Xbox Pass, which I have. Which gives you access to this archive of all these games. I mean, so it's legacy stuff, it's reasons, and eventually the Halo stuff for Halo players, that'll be a thing. And there are a couple of Xbox exclusive titles, but the thing is, I also just like the social experience of Xbox more than PlayStation, to be honest. So there's just gonna be people who get the console that allows them to play with their friends.
Yeah, that's what my brother did. He has an Xbox because not everyone, but a lot of his friends have also Xboxes, and they all coordinated purposefully.
Yep. Yeah, that's how me and my friends used to roll and stuff like that. Xbox probably be the only way that I actually communicate with some people that I grew up with, to be honest with you.
Dang, that's cool. I wish some of my friends did that, but sadly not all of my girlfriends do that.
You need some gamer girlfriends. You're in the right place for it in Cali though.
Yeah.
True. Y'all can start a streamer house.
Oh my god!
Look, I mean, part of this is because part of the reason I'm getting the Xbox and the PlayStation is they're going right over there on Battle Station number 2, and I'm looking at building another PC for January 2021. Well, here's the thing: I might, after I strip stuff off my drives and stuff like that, I will either sell that PC to an aspiring video editor at a bargain. So Stormkiller can go to somebody at a bargain, or if I'm feeling, no, I'll give it to somebody at a bargain. I'll sell it to someone at a bargain because that thing is beast. That thing is a beast. I was thinking about giving it to my brother, but I'm like, that's a lot of investment in that one. I would rather buy or build him maybe I'll get him like one of those Best Buy or Walmart PCs or something, because that one, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of money put in.
Dang.
But I will build
That'd be a cool
new,
giveaway.
huh?
That'd be a cool giveaway. Flash if you're
It could
selling it.
be, but it's like the shipping wouldn't, like, on top of giving that thing away, the shipping be a monstrosity.
That's
And I'd
true.
have like, it's one of those things to where with that one, I invested so much into that.
Yeah.
I would definitely be remiss or irresponsible if I didn't just sell it at a bargain. Because
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm generous, as you well know, but like, I ain't that generous.
I mean, that's understandable. I feel like if
Plus, I mean, it's hard enough to part with it because like, it was the first custom PC I built in a while. I built that in 2016 when the channel really started popping, and it was a really big investment for me. And I went through a lot of trial and error to get it right. By comparison, this one, hang on, I gotta show a live
wait, can you
studio
turn the
audience.
camera?
I can show with our live studio audience a little bit of this one.
The SpiderMan figurine.
But that bad boy, that was a big investment, but I built it from scratch and I got it right the first time, and I didn't screw it up.
You learned from your mistakes from last time.
Yeah, and no errors, and the cable management inside of this machine is so ridiculously clean, and it's water cooled, Audrey.
Wait, so there's like actual. That's pretty fancy. How does that even work? I don't even know. I need to set up a PC at some point. Because I feel like you learn a lot.
Like when all of this is over, I will come out to the West Coast and I will take care of you.
No. No, I gotta learn this on my own. I gotta
we'll
struggle.
do it together. It's like you need an experienced mentor to guide you through the process. Reach out with your feelings, you must.
Great.
I will teach you the ways of the Force.
Of how to build a PC.
Yeah.
That could be fun. We can make a video about it.
See, that's my point. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it could be just like when Austin Evans helped Sarah Dietschy build her first PC.
Wait, what? I didn't know that.
That was like one of her early collabs when she first started blowing up. One of her early collabs was Austin Evans and her put together a PC build for $2,700.
That's awesome.
Yep. And it was like a baller PC. It got her through a lot. It got her through a lot of her first initial big projects.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I feel like I started watching Sarah in 2018. So it's probably after that happened.
I've been there since the Casey video.
Dang. Wait, when was that? Was that
2016?
Oh, okay.
It was in like summer 2016. Actually spring of 2016. It was like in spring of 2016. And then I watched all of the Creative Spaces TV stuff because that was what she was trying to blow up in order to promote. And then her entire Adobe journey, the whole moving to New York. I was an early collab of hers in 2016. Back in November 2016, I was one of the only people to actually get to collab with her back in the old ghetto apartment with the broken radiator.
Wow.
Yeah.
The old ghetto apartment.
Yeah, no, we joke about it all the time because like we had to do a couple of retakes and everything like that. I was there back when I met John Hill when him and Sarah weren't even dating yet. And the minute he walked in the door, I saw how they looked at each other and how much more nervous they got. I was like, I didn't tell them. I was like, this is a thing and it might be endgame. This is a thing. And I wish I had wrote it in an envelope and sealed it so that I could have literally handed it to them.
Believe you.
Exactly.
Now people are just going to say, of course, you're saying that now, but you don't have
But I knew it then. And I may have only told, like, I think the only person I told was like Jason. But I knew it then and there. Like, I think Jason is the only one that I told, like, in real time. But Jason was living in Jersey at that time. But like, it was so cool to know that I knew them before they started dating and I saw it right then and there, and now they're getting married. That's kind of like dope. That's
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's crazy that was 4 years ago.
I know. And look at how much they both evolved and changed and everything.
Mhm.
John's about to hit like 1 million.
Oh,
Like,
really?
he's evolved his content. He was in a slump for a while and he's evolved his content. He's doing so well.
That's
And he's
awesome.
expanded his art and his creativity. He's been drawing a lot. You've been seeing him do his
Yeah,
artwork
I've
and
seen
embrace
some of
that.
those.
Yeah, and it's
That's
his
like so
childhood passion.
different,
He's
right?
making me want to go back to drawing.
Wait, is he making videos about drawing?
He's incorporating more of himself than his skateboarding into his content, and he's been exploring that side of himself. And so it's not that he's making videos about that per se, but he's incorporating it and his original characters, and it's really cool to watch because he's finding a way to express himself and the variety of things he is without changing the packaging of his content in a way that alienates his audience. So he's found a way, and I've talked about this before, like just because you niche down doesn't mean you have to be trapped. It just means that you have to package your content to be what the audience wants, but you can deliver more than what they asked for. Like, people just think, well, if I can't make this the title and thumbnail, then I'm stuck and I feel blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, you can make the title and thumbnail what'll get clicks, and then you can make the video whatever you want as long as you think it's something people will enjoy.
Yeah. I feel that that's kind of the big struggle.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you a question, like a
Shoot, you
selfish
can always
question.
ask me questions.
Because I don't know, I more about like my stuff because
Shoot.
I don't know. I feel like I need someone else's perspective.
I'm always here for that. What up?
And maybe people in the chat can help too. But
Maybe.
I don't know, just like I feel like I've been hitting a wall with my stuff recently, and like I want more of a plan so that I can execute on it instead of trying to come up with random ideas all the time. Does that make sense?
What do you want to do? Like, you can do, here's the thing. What if I just told you you can do anything you want?
Yeah,
What would
that's
you do?
overwhelming.
Huh?
That's overwhelming.
Aha. So so the thing is, you're intimidated by a blank canvas. Would you do better with prompts?
I mean, the thing is, it's not that it's completely blank because I have like a general idea of what's worked in the past.
Do you want to do what's worked, or do you want to do, or again, let's leave making content effective off the table. Let's
Okay.
imagine that YouTube has, for one moment, let's imagine that there's no such things as views and subscribers.
Yeah.
Let's imagine there's no such thing as views and subscribers, and someone said, well, you've got $10,000 to blow this year to make whatever you want, and you've got 3 more months. You got like 100 days left in 2020. You got $10,000 in your pocket. What the fuck are you making?
I think it'd be more like playing with fire, but not as random. So more like creative
You can't really
analysis.
title it that right now, I don't think.
No. True. Or maybe it would help, but not in a good way.
It's one way to get attention, right?
Yeah, no. I don't think people would think of that connection.
That's true.
It's yeah. I don't know. I know I need to have more of a specific idea, and I feel like I have a general direction, but it's not specific enough.
What's the general direction? Lay it out for me.
Well, I actually today made like a little sticky note thing because I was trying to figure it out so I can read some of them. But like creative analysis videos, sharing my creative journey, teaching through doing, like documenting the behind the scenes of creative projects.
How many videos do you want to make before the end of 2020?
at least once a week. So how many weeks is
Do
that?
you want why does it have to be once a week?
I don't know. It's just how it's always kept me consistent, I guess.
All right, that's helped you be consistent. But if
Yeah.
you were working on something in a project for a brand, you may not be able to knock it out in a week, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, if you were working on a big project, it might take more than a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me go another direction. Alexa, how many days left in 2020?
Oh God.
There's
What'd you say?
105 days left in the year. Okay.
Dang.
Audrey, focus on coming up with 10 baller ideas, and they don't have to be compatible with each other, and they don't have to be a series. Make the 10 dopest things you can think of doing, and don't worry about what you do or don't have. Come up with, if I have to end my career at 2020 and these 10 videos are all this basically left of my legacy, what do I make?
Yeah.
And you should probably just focus on coming up with 10 really, really good video ideas and just go balls to the wall on how can I make something that is so dope that if somebody doesn't share it, they're an asshole.
Wow. Okay. I like that. That's a cool way of thinking about it.
And it's not about it having to be perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
Like it's about it being fun as hell. Remember how like there's the story that like Nike gave Casey like what'd they give him $1 million or something like that to make a commercial, and
Was it a million?
it was some
I don't remember.
200,000, $1 million, it was something like that, and he's like, travel the world with my best bro,
Yeah.
and I'll cobble together something
Lots
out
of running.
of whatever that experience was.
Yeah.
Think of all the money that you have as your own creator grant, sponsored by Audrey Ember instead of by Nike, sponsored by No Assembly Pod instead of Nike.
Wow.
And then, because No Assembly Pod has zero budget. Because No Assembly Pod is broke AF. Because you guys need to get us to monetization status as soon as possible. But yeah, I would just say, as your friend, to like, and also as a fellow creator, that I grew up in the world before there were views and likes,
Yeah.
Like I grew up when I was your age, back in my day, when I was your age, like back in my day when I was your age, there wasn't like views and likes. Like we posted stuff on the internet and we made videos before YouTube just to make stuff that was fun as hell to make, and stuff we wanted to see and stuff we wanted to talk about and share at like work or on the weekends or whatever, and gather around. Like there weren't smartphones back then. We'd gather around somebody's kitchen with like a laptop or their computer that's like sitting like next to their router, because that's how things were back then, and that's how we did it. I remember we first started watching we discovered YouTube in 2005 at my friend Malcolm's house, gathered around.
Wait, when did it exist?
February 2005 was when YouTube was founded and when the site went live. And so like in 2006? It was acquired by Google in November of 2006.
Oh.
So like in 2005, in fall of 2005, we discovered YouTube, and mostly it was like old Super Bowl ads and Too Hot for TV commercials and like bootlegs of cartoons and stuff from the 90s, and we were using it to watch old nostalgic stuff. But also there were a few people making funny skits back then, and we were watching that too. And so and parody videos, and so like we got into early YouTube as viewers of the platform. And then me and my friends, sometimes we would make skits ourselves, or we'd make fake movie trailers, because what our thing was we liked editing fake movie trailers and anime music videos. Back then everybody made anime music videos to Linkin Park. That was what we did. That was what we did back in my day. And I was a part of that. But we also did that before YouTube existed for years. I was doing that for like almost 10 years before YouTube existed. I've been a video editor longer than, like, I may have been a video editor for as long as you've been alive. I'm not joking. So when I say like make dope stuff that you enjoy and let the rest take care of itself, that is true right up until you make the title and thumbnail. But in the meantime, Just make whatever the hell you want, but make something so good that you could like, you know what? If I like, God forbid, if I die right now, like this was solid. I'm glad I finished this project. This is good.
I
This
mean,
is
I
good.
was like that too. Like when I started making videos, like I was making videos before posting them on YouTube, like not music videos, but like skits and stuff with friends.
Yeah.
But I guess recently I felt like a lot more pressure because, like I literally just moved out. Like I feel
Because
like
you moved out to LA and you said, and you made the declaration to the world that you want to be a full-time content creator.
yeah.
And now you feel like you have to deliver on that. Audrey, you're in LA. You're in a world where a lot of people want to be creative, and most of the people who move out to LA or want to do LA and everything like that are not as good at YouTube as you. They don't have a video with 100,000 views. They don't have even 10,000 subs. They've never worked with brands. You're already ahead of every kid your age in LA that hasn't already made it. Every kid in LA, which is like literally the 99% of them, don't have what you have. And that's at every measure. They don't have your views. They don't have your subs. They don't have your experience. They haven't made the amount of content you've made. You've made well over 100 videos at this point. You have contacts. You have friends. You have colleagues. You have brand connects. You have people who will mentor you. You have a lot. And more importantly, you actually have fucking talent.
Woo.
Yeah. I didn't stutter.
Thank you.
You're a better filmmaker than I am. Probably better filmmaker than I'll ever be. No, my subs, like Audrey, like my subs aside, then again, people haven't seen me try to make art. Like, I mean, they barely have seen me, like, because, like, I don't share that. I'm selfish as hell. But I think even if I tried, I don't think it's as good as you are at filmmaking and storytelling. I don't think if I actually tried, it might get more views for reasons, but my filmmaking art, in terms if we both did a 24-hour filmmaking challenge, probably won't be as good as yours.
That would be fun. We should do that.
Maybe we will.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just feel like I've been hitting a wall.
You feel that way because you're looking at your views and subscriber count.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I mean, people don't believe me, and I do dig into analytics a lot, but I don't think people believe me when I say I don't really care about that, Audrey. Like, I think that people don't believe me, but I think you've known me long enough to really know I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, and the reason I probably like teaching and mentoring is because I like having conversations like this with you and people like you, and helping people like you make things they actually care about and also pay their bills. And I'm more probably, I would say that the odd thing is, because I guess it's partly because I've gotten older, that I'm more passionate about that and about mentoring and teaching than I am about sharing my art, because I'd rather just make my art selfishly. If anything, I don't need the accolades. I've already won. People don't understand that I never expected to get 100,000 subscribers, let alone get close to 500,000 subscribers. So when I got at first I wasn't even trying to get a silver play button. I was shocked to have an audience and to grow as fast as I did. And at a certain point, I just was like, I'm not going to try really hard to grow, but since these things are working, I'm going to do more of these. And I'm also curious about what else works and if I'm right. I won at YouTube by testing out things to see if I was right, because I was more interested in being right about how YouTube works than actually winning the YouTube game. And I was curious about whether I could do YouTube my way and still succeed instead of doing YouTube other people's way and still succeed. And if I was right. I care, as you know, a lot about being right. So I care more probably about being right than what being right produces, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, see, that's like your thing, though. So it makes sense that's
what I mean by that, though, is it doesn't make me less of an artist. It just means that, like, when I was a little older than you, because I lived in a small town and because no one in my family had made it as a creative, Because like for me, the goal was never, oh, be a full-time YouTuber, because there was no such thing, you know, because the world was different back then. And there was also no such thing as be a full-time content creator per se, but you could be a full-time professional creative or artist. You could be a creative pro. And that would be like it, you know, because everybody else was working like a job they hated because they had to pay bills, or they gave up on their dream and they lived for their nights and weekends, you know, like, oh, I do photography on my weekends. I can't quit my day job, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I do design and I do stuff, but it's a side hustle. I can't quit my day. I got to be hired by a company to be a graphic and web designer. And then I went on and I worked at an ad agency as a senior graphic designer and worked directly under the agency head and a creative director. I was his like number 2 or the number 3 it was a small business, so it wasn't a lot of us, but still I was there for every meeting, every pitch, everything we did. I got to have my art and my design and typography on billboards in Times Square. I got to do the art and posters for the Lombardi documentary, the Bruce Springsteen documentary, the Dennis Miller special. I got to do ads that had Bette Midler in them. I got to do the Alexander Bradley fight, Con Closey. I got to do HBO boxing stuff. It was game over like at 25, 26 or whatever. I had accomplished all of my like wildest dreams and then some. I had my art in Photoshop magazines, Photoshop Creative. I'm not sitting here trying to read off my resume and accolades. I'm trying to say like I felt at that time I had to recalibrate later in life because I had reached what I thought was my peak, and I thought it would take me my whole life to get there. And I did it before I was 30 because I didn't know enough to set any lofty goals in terms of why I make this much money, because no one in my life had ever made a certain amount of money. So I wasn't focused on that. I just cared about my art career and like what I could claim as my title and to feel like a real graphic designer. Since I didn't finish my degree and I went to a community college, I always felt so less than. I've always felt so worthless that to be acknowledged and to have my stuff in magazines, my stuff in billboards, to get paid to do it full time was enough for me in terms of the satisfaction of feeling validated or accomplished or acknowledged. So social media didn't really exist yet then at that point, because that's like 10 years ago when social media was in its infancy, and it was called social networking back then. So there was no such thing as being social media famous yet, not really. And so when I did all of that, there was the only real thing at that point was to stop living paycheck to paycheck, because I'm like, all right, I made a living as a creator. I made a living as a creative pro, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm suffering. So I like needed something more than that. And I was like, I think I have to become an entrepreneur, or at least a freelancer that's making like money on my terms and can do that. Because I was unhappy with my work stuff, because I was doing the thing that I loved, but I didn't love the people I had to work with a lot of the times or work under.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was in control of enough things. And it's like, I felt proud of my work, but I didn't feel ownership of my work. You know, everything belongs to the company. So I had to go my own way. And then that was the new evolution for me. But remember, I just needed to make the money to survive and thrive and to help my family. I didn't need to be acknowledged by being famous or anything, because I'm like, anything I thought I wanted to be validated, I had it before social media existed, because my bar was set so low because I had no other thing to look at.
Yeah.
I think that with you and your generation, you have all these people, you have the Caseys and the Mr. Beast, and that's what you get to look at every day. And that's how you guys measure success. And the thing is, you're looking at this, like, you're looking up at this, like, Ivy Tower and this mythical Mount Olympus. I just was looking up at the hill.
Yeah.
I grew up where all we could see was the hill. You guys are seeing the towers of the gods from day one. And I think that that's the difference between, like, maybe people who came up in my era versus your era, is that for us, just getting out and making like more than 50K a year and just having like a little bit of any kind of acknowledgement for what we do at all, even if it's literally 50 people, was like amazing. And you guys, if it's not made 50,000 people, it's not enough.
Yeah, but the industry's also changed a little bit since then.
Not the traditional industry.
Yeah.
Remember, the industry I'm talking about predates the one you're talking about, because the industry you're talking about is only 15 years old.
Yeah. That's true.
The one I'm talking about is 150 years old.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Like, comparison is definitely a problem.
Like, if you were working in the industry, like the things that I'm talking about would, like, it's not that it'd be enough for you, because again, remember, your sights are set higher because you grew up in a culture that sets sights higher, which is in some ways a good thing. But like, the industry, in terms of if you were working behind the scenes, like in LA, is the same, more for the most part, as the same industry I came up in just a few years before that. That you may have noticed that the traditional industry hasn't changed or adapted or acclimated much at all, which is our criticism of it.
Yeah.
You're talking about the industry of the creator economy in the ecosystem of what the platforms are now, and in dealing with the creator influencer economy. Whereas I'm talking about what creative professionals that work in the brands deal with.
Yeah. That's true. It definitely puts things into perspective. The thing with creators is so, like, open, like you can see what everyone else is doing. And the ones that you see most often are the ones at the top. So
you think you see what everyone else is doing, but you really don't.
Yeah.
You see the end result.
Yeah, that's so true.
Everyone sees Mr. Beast and like his 6 homies. They don't see the 25 to 30 other people off camera that make all of that happen. It's like when people didn't understand, why did Mr. Beast get a small business PPP loan for $1 million? Because $1 million.
They think it's just him. Like, what?
Well, no, it's a lot of when they were calling out people, Jeffree Star, this person, that person. But the thing is, I don't care who it is, because what they're doing is they're taking out money for payroll for the year to protect their crew.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Beast has 30
I mean, it's a business. He's got employees.
He's got 30 something people in North Carolina that rely on him. Him taking out $1 million is paying all of those people a year of their salary to protect them, because he doesn't know what's going to happen with COVID, and they've had brands pull out, and they've had projects not go off, and he already was operating on thin margins. People talk about all this money he gives away, and they don't realize that he's not keeping a lot of that, and he has everybody in his family and his friends and their families relying on him. He asks people to quit full-time safe jobs and drop out of school. He's less than 25 years old, and he has the livelihood of 30 people on his back, which is why I will personally drop kick in the chest anybody who has jack to say about Jimmy Donaldson.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if anyone's got a problem with those loans, they should not be looking at Jimmy. There's, I don't want to name drop, but he's definitely the least of the problem.
He's the least problematic person in this entire freaking ecosystem, and I will literally roll up on the street on anybody who has anything to say about him.
Yep.
I will remind people I am from Brooklyn real quick. That's not a threat, anyone. It's a promise. Pinky promise.
Yeah. That's so true. I don't even know how he deals with. That's got to be so stressful. Oh my god. Especially now.
I can't, like, I already have enough of that, like, and I have a very small team at this point, and they're more involved in my coaching business than in anything with my content, even though we're doing a little bit of overlap, and I'm like, I finally am hiring an editor. I'm hiring Paul Timothy. Paul.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Paul's going to start helping me front load the 3 videos that are evergreen on my channel. And then I will do anything that's like, oh, I want to film it today, get it out today. I'll do anything like that, but I'm going to start front loading my content and get a backfill like I had back in the day when I was daily. I was a week ahead,
Wait, so are you going daily again?
No, but I'm going to go to 3 videos, if not 5 a week. and Paul's going to edit 3, and then I'm going to edit whatever I want. And sometimes I'll make content day of if there's breaking news. So that way I'm always ahead of the game. And we're going to do that. And eventually I'm either going to hire or train a designer. I am looking, by the way, if you're interested in some pickup work, of having maybe you edit some things for me that are like drop-ins for my content that I can use. Cause I need somebody who might be really good at editing those 30-second sponsor spots for my like long-term sponsorships, so that they look kind of cool and give me like 2 variations or 3 variations on each. So it's like, we'll talk off line about that. Like, but I might want to have you do that, because I think that you would be really good at editing 30-second spots and not having them feel and look really cool, despite being, or because they're an ad drop, but like an ad drop could still look dope. I mean, we grew up in an era where it actually is sometimes cool, and you'll look for a specific ad because it looks dope, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Super Bowl ads, I really like that. Like, I like how clever they are with 15 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely have to make them pretty interesting. Aren't those things like really expensive?
They can be, but some of them aren't comparatively. I mean, some of them, they're not expensive to make. They just charge a lot. Because agencies get to do that, which is why a lot of influencer marketing is happening, because it's cheaper to work with a content creator than to hire an agency.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a better product, to be honest.
Yeah, I was talking to someone recently about that who works at a like a production company, and they've been hiring basically exclusively content creators right now because of COVID, because they're normally either by themselves or they have a small team. And a lot of these like big agencies aren't like working because they can't, because of regulations and stuff.
It might be why I'm getting so many offers for brand deals.
Yeah. No, it probably is. Like, that's, if there's anything good to come out of that, at least more content creators might be getting some.
But that's why I can hire people and give people some work for side hustle work, or I can give people like part-time jobs with a good income, though, because like, I mean, I'm not gonna, like, I'll tell you off camera like numbers, but like I'm having people that are not working full time that are kind of making, they're working for me, but they're getting what my take home pay when I was working full time used to be after taxes. They're getting that out of me working for me. And it's not like I'm asking for need 40 hours a week. I just need results.
Yeah.
If it takes you 40, it takes you 40. But if it takes you 20, it takes you 20. But I just need results.
Yeah.
They're like, they're getting like technically like somebody's full-time pay for part-time work with a very hands-off boss, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's like the freelancer's ideal right there. And I think as like a creator, it's probably easier when you're hiring freelancers, because you kind of,
yes and no.
You get what they're, no?
Yes and no. It's a really hard thing, and it's the evolution of becoming an employer. One, in negotiating things, the thing is, I deal more in asking people what they want. And then sometimes I have to re-educate them, and I have to decide whether or not I'm going to be their friend or a better businessman or a good human or fiscally responsible. And by that, I mean, everybody underprices themselves at some point. And so then I renegotiate to a place where it is fair but justifiable by changing the scope of work and then changing the price to be something that is fair to both parties, so that I can get maximum value without them underselling themselves dramatically, but still get a good deal. But there's room to grow, because then we can also account for how satisfied I am, because promissory and delivery are two different, what is promised and what are delivered might be two different things. So the thing is, there's a lot more room for, one, long-term commitments when people over deliver, and also when the experience of working with them is good, they won't have to ask for more money if that's the case. at
Yeah.
a certain point, as long as I have it. You see what I'm saying? And as long as the results are also helping me get the coverage for that, you see.
Yeah.
So I think like that. But the thing is, a truly ruthless businessman, which is in me to be, but I don't do that to like fellow creators, like in the way that a lot of people would or could, or in some cases, frankly, should. Because here's the thing. In business, you have no obligation to give someone a better deal than they asked for.
Yeah.
You know that I taught you that about brand deals. You know, that if you ask for this little, that's what you'll get.
Yeah. Because
But
why
if
would
you,
they?
huh?
Unless they have some like moral obligation, why would they pay you?
No, the thing is, their moral obligation is that if they keep more of that budget, then there's more room for them to give other opportunities to people. And then also, they have that money in the budget to spread to some other thing that's resourced. That money, people don't realize that budgets, when you save on your budget, it doesn't go into your pocket or back into your coffers. It goes into more of what will help the company.
Yeah.
It's allocating resources. And so people don't think about that. It's like when you're working on your own business, if you finish something early, it's not, oh, cool, I get to knock off and watch Netflix now. It's, oh, cool, I have 2 more hours to make dope stuff. I have 2 more hours to put into everything that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
That time that was bought back doesn't go back in your pocket. It goes somewhere else you need it to go. That could be rest that you need to recharge. It could be something that has to get done around the office. Or it could be another project, or it could be some admin work. But it's not like that time goes back in your pocket. It gets put where it needs to be. And it's the same thing with money.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Something if I save on budget paying one creator, it just is money that is going to another creator afterward.
Yeah.
Or it's going to the software, or it's going to the hardware. The money belongs to the project or to the company or to the craft, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the moral obligation like it's hard because it's arguably, and I don't think it's ignoble. I think people internalize it because they feel it's happening at their expense. But like when anyone builds something, the mission comes first.
Yeah. That's true. I hadn't thought about some of that stuff. So
Most people don't, and they internalize what they would like to happen to them versus seeing another perspective of, it's not that somebody's in a moral scumbag. Sometimes there are people who are moral scumbags, but it's that if you ask somebody what their priorities or their mission or their values are, you may not disagree with that, even if you want your experience to be different in the scope of that mission. But if you are like me, you realize, well, my experience will be based on what I bring to the table or how I help serve that mission. And if I can serve that mission as a team leader or as a foot soldier, and I can't complain about what happens based on that choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it from the perspective of the employer like that before. So.
There's a thing that I teach in leadership that I call employer empathy, which people think, well, no, we need more employee empathy. It's like the point of empathy is that you're supposed to be indiscriminate and you're supposed to offer it regardless of people's circumstances. Empathy isn't about having an asterisk. That's the point.
Yeah, that's true.
And if we're doing our thing right, one day we're gonna find ourselves in the situation of the person that we were judging that was at a higher level. Like, I don't like all the things that were done to me as an employee, but I understand them, and then I've tempered what I do to be a balance of what would have felt better for me to experience, but what also was wrong that I did or not good enough or that I didn't consider, or like okay? Or how do I create a better environment that allows me to not, because the other thing is I had to also put myself in a position to not be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because people will use their circumstances as a justification for what they do to you, because they're like, well, you can afford it, or you can take a punch, or you have so much. So if I take a little, even if I'm wrong, like, well, what's it to you?
Yeah.
Like if people feel that you have more than them, or they feel that you're privileged, they will rationalize scamming you.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of hard as an employee? Like, why would an employer think that?
What do you mean?
Like, I guess I just had a
Well,
brain fart. I completely forgot.
well, all right. So, I mean, in life in general, have you not had people take advantage of your generosity?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I could see like an employer like not. You could do something like it's happened to me in the past where I've done something and it's taken like a lot of extra time, and then they just don't like pay me for that extra time, even though they should have.
right.
But then I didn't follow up either, so I guess also.
So I'll give you an example, because it happens both ways. People take advantage of you regardless of what position you're in. You know that?
Yeah.
Like, whether you're an employee or an employer, people take advantage of you. It just takes a different form. It just takes a different form. So the thing is, if you don't stand up for yourself, people will overwork you. But if you don't stand up for yourself, people will make excuses and make you feel sorry for them and be lenient where you shouldn't, because it didn't change what you had to go through.
Yeah.
Like, if I hire someone to do something and I pay them for all of it or in advance, but then they deliver less than what was promised, or it's late, there's consequences and stress for me on my end, but they still got what they wanted.
Yeah.
And they can take advantage of that. And sometimes people will take advantage of that, especially if they know that if they look like the little guy in that thing, that if you, in some ways, if you hold them accountable, and with cancel culture, you could be the one who looks like an asshole, because no one will want to take your side, because you're the rich, privileged asshole who has everything, and this person has nothing, and they can frame it that way, and they know they can get away with it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm not like, because I'm being specific in a way here, and I'm not putting anyone's business out there, but I know a top like influencer who had an issue with some people under them in that exact scenario, and where they were leveraged basically, or a little bit extorted, because people knew that even if they were in the right, no one would take their side.
That's not good.
Like, because of the way that you can frame it, of big guy versus little guy versus right versus wrong. Because again, people will put an asterisk of like, the right thing is the right thing unless you make more money than me.
Yeah.
We've reached that point in our culture where people will use, and this has probably always been true, but people will use their circumstances to justify anything.
Yeah.
And depending on how much more we relate to the person in the wrong than the person that's actually morally in the right, or if we don't like the person that's in the right, but like, it was the wrong thing, like that person was wrong, but we don't like that person, so we don't care.
Yeah, that's true. That happens. I feel like
It happens to the best of us. I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I don't, I haven't never done that. But I'm trying to be better at that, because I would never want to be in that situation where people didn't take my side just because they didn't like me and they didn't look objectively at who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And on the other side, it wouldn't be right for somebody to just side with me just because they like me more.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right thing to do either. And in the creative world, it's hard, because if you're a business person like me, like I would feel guilty about feeling like I took advantage of someone, but at the same time, I have to then weigh what the right thing to do is in terms of what's right for the mission And then for the people that I'm supporting and I'm taking care of, well, do I take away things like or potential gains for them to help this other person? That's not family, you know, like that's a rough one for people too. And people don't weigh that sometimes you're making a choice between everyone and everything else in your family. And how do you say what's right there too, or more right or more correct, or who's more? And then is there a masochistic part? Like I worry about Jimmy, I worry about Mr. Beast, because I'm like, are you doing too much for everybody and not enough for yourself?
Yeah, I feel like that's a real problem that could build up over time. But also, Jimmy just seems like he's overly selfless. And I don't know if that's just his personality or if that's like what makes him feel like accomplished
It
specifically.
can be, and I think it is, and there are people like that.
Yeah.
And it's good for them, and I'm not judging, and I'm not diagnosing, I'm not an armchair psychiatrist, but what I will say from personal experience is that might feel easy to do the younger you are. And the thing is, the more praise and acknowledgement and acceptance you get as a result of that, and people telling you how good you are, that can build you up and that can feel good. But then that becomes an addictive thing like dopamine too. And then you want to give and you want to give more. And you may not be acknowledging and slowing down and asking yourself, is the pressure to do this having any negative consequences for me? Or am I ignoring those negative consequences because I like the dopamine hit of everybody loving me and telling me and seeing, and I also like the dopamine hit of seeing the look on their faces. Is that my drug here? And am I ignoring other parts of myself to keep chasing that high is what I would worry about. Because
So be a worse person.
what's that?
No, it's like the solution is to just be less selfless. Be a worse person.
We've been trained by society to do so many messed up things to validate ourselves, including being quote unquote what's perceived as a good person at our own expense.
Yeah.
Don't you feel sometimes that you've ever been in a position where you kind of been punished for being a good person?
Yeah, probably, definitely. Sometimes doing like the good way is sometimes harder, or people will even judge you for being like too much of a goody two shoes.
Or again, they take advantage of it. They're like, they know you're going to do this, so they'll take advantage of it, or they'll contrive or do this, or they'll make you a doormat.
Yeah.
If you let them.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's rough because, again, people condition to be, oh, well, do this or you're not a good person. Like you see a lot of social shaming of trying to get people to do something they don't want to do, but are then socially shamed or forced to do to be able to lay claim to being a good person.
Yeah.
And you see that even like in the YouTube culture as creators, that there's people who encroach on our boundaries or demand things from us because they say, well, you owe that to people who support you, or you're nothing without us, or this or that. And they try to use that as leverage to force people to do things they don't want to do, or be accessible in a way they don't want to be, or to acknowledge them.
Like, you know? I literally saw a comment today on someone's video where they talking about brand deals, and some comment was like, I don't like YouTubers who only make content to make money or something, or like whose only purpose is to like do brand deals. And I'm wording it sounded not as bad as that. Like when he wrote the comment, it sounded like he was saying that he didn't like it when YouTubers basically made money off of their content.
Then that person should never watch anything. Like, ever. That person should never go to a movie theater, never turn on Netflix, never read a book. That person should live in a world where content doesn't exist then.
That type of stuff just really annoys me, because like, oh, so if someone is
in real life, I'd just punch those people in the mouth.
And that's your part of your job and you have to make money, like it doesn't mean they're less, passionate about what they're doing. It's just necessary.
It's 30 freaking seconds of a 10-minute video. Get over yourself.
I know. That's type of stuff really annoys me.
It's free content. Get over yourself. You didn't pay for this.
Yeah.
You don't get to complain about free stuff. It's the same reason I'm mad at sometimes like when creators bitch about YouTube too much. I'm like, it's free.
Yeah.
It's free web hosting, 4K video files, terabytes upon terabytes. Are you kidding me? I'll just pay the damn hosting fees and the rest of you can just freeloaders can go. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those people need to rethink, because that's just really frustrating. That's so frustrating to read as a creator, because like, is my only purpose to like, it's not just to like entertain you without getting paid. Like, how does, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's a thing where there's an entitlement sometimes with an audience to say, it's like, be my dancing bear. Your job is to make me happy, and I don't care about what happens to you or how you do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, most people aren't like that, but there's always...
No, but I think there's a culture that is getting more and more like that now.
Yeah.
I also think there are people that are just being so resentful of like whatever their situation is and then saying, well, you have the easiest job in the world. It's like, you ain't doing this or you wouldn't say that.
Yeah. I mean, people...
It's so easy, you should do it.
Into it. That's something that's never going to go away, though, I don't think.
Anybody, it will when, I hate to say it, it will when creators stop pandering and trying to look more humble than they are, and to have everybody believe that they're a good person and that you can't be a good person and still be critical even of the audience, and that no, the customer isn't always right.
Yeah.
Everybody can be held accountable, even your audience. Boundaries matter, and that's even with their audience. You realize some of these people drag their kids to these YouTubers' houses, look up the houses, they take their kids to the YouTube houses, and they insist that you are nothing without your fans, and you better take the damn selfie with them, and we're going to tell everybody, and da-da-da-da-da, and they think they're in the right. And these are parents, by the way. These aren't just entitled children. These are parents.
I don't understand how any parent would think, because you'd think, like, if you're a parent, wouldn't you be like, oh, if my kid was in that position, I wouldn't want random people showing up to their house? Like, that's kind of weird. And a lot of these creators are still basically kids. So it's just creepy. I don't understand that whole thing. It's because parents maybe don't understand that these are, like, just random kids. They're not, like, you know, Disney stars or whatever. Like, it's all different.
Yeah, it is different. And even with that, I still don't think it's right to do that to like the Disney stars and all that and everything like that. I mean, to a point, the fans and the whatever didn't make them, Hollywood did. Like, I mean, their agent made them, the producers, the writers, that like, it's like, you know, like, and it's a whole thing. I think that, but again, this is part of this whole idea of where people want to move the needle to give themselves power that was not earned.
Mm-hmm.
Because for you to then take credit for the collective power of the millions of people supporting and then think you individually are owed something is absurd.
Yeah.
But people do that. They pull this we the people shtick, you know, when you haven't done something yourself and you don't have individual power agency that's at a high level, the only answer is to gather a group of people, because collectively you might have the power to challenge somebody who actually has it and legitimately is at that level, because you guys have to pool to do that. And that's what people do. And that's what mob mentality literally is. And that's what cancel culture is. Yeah. But at an individual level, you have no ability to offer any consequences to a person that's at a higher level than you, because they're there for a reason. And as much as people don't like it, you might be where you are for reasons. Now, not all of those will be a matter of in your control, but there's still consequences that were natural. They were natural consequences for the way that things were laid out, whether those things were the environment itself or your actions. Yeah. Everything that transpires is a natural consequence of everything that came before it. I mean, that's a little heady and that's a little like, you know, but it's a universal truth that everything that transpires is merely a natural consequence of everything that came before. And when we interpret the world or our careers or what happens in that way, it makes us act intentionally and thoughtfully. It's why my advice at the beginning of the show to you was be super intentional about 10 really dope ideas, and everything that transpires will be a natural consequence of you making the 10 dopest videos you were capable of making at the time.
Yeah. It's kind of scary though, because I feel like, I don't know, it's like a kind of a like hoping that it works type of situation.
No, it's not about hoping that works. There's no, because again, the goal is not supposed to be anyone's acceptance. It's supposed to be you making the dopest shit that you can make.
Yeah.
It's about you having an idea of what would be cool if it existed, and then making that. Do you realize that that's what Mr. Beast came up with? Like when he stopped doing, Mr. Beast did content that he thought might get people. I don't think Mr. Beast enjoyed some of the weird torture himself videos that he made because they were literally torture. He did them because they worked.
I genuinely enjoy that.
He did them because they worked, because that would put him in a position to do things that he always would have. Do you realize the reason he did the live stream and did the shirts is he literally said himself, man, when we were growing up, do you realize how cool it would have been if PewDiePie had done? He's doing everything he wished PewDiePie had done because he worshipped PewDiePie. Everything that PewDiePie never did for him to experience is what he decided to make when he could afford to do it and when he had the resources. In the meantime, he did everything that he could do as a broke kid to go viral. That was, you know what I'm saying? Because he was making $1 a day for a long time and put all of that into his content, and he still puts everything into his content. He's talked about the fact that they've gotten to a point to where their margins are so thin sometimes that like screwing up a video would be devastating. And the reason that sometimes there's these long periods of time before uploads, because I watch all of his interviews, that's why I know so much. And a couple of times I've DM'd with him, but like not about that stuff, but like I ask questions and I learn a lot. And the thing is that he's very thoughtful and intentional about everything, but he takes massive risk for massive reward because he figured out the failure to success ratio is, if I fail, the worst thing that's going to happen is blah, blah, blah. But if I succeed, the best thing that can happen is this. And it's just too big of a gap to not try. And that's the difference between him and other people. But he also is very calculated. He actually but sometimes he miscalculates and something goes awry and the videos are delayed because, well, that didn't work and we spent all this money. So time to do a merch drop and raise money for the next project because we only have this much in the coffers and we got to get everybody, we got to make sure we hit payroll. He made new channels that don't cost anything to make sure that they can pay everybody and that they have another mechanism to fund the expensive content that everyone wants to watch.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of these sponsors, people don't realize with COVID, a lot of these sponsors put projects on hiatus. They're trying to figure out how to keep their employees paid. They're trying to figure out how to not go out of business. They pulled back advertising budgets. That's why the YouTube ads went lower for a while. Some of them still are. There are entire niches of YouTube that are dead right now, like travel.
That's so true. I feel bad for any travel channels.
Oh, so many of my friends got screwed on that.
Screens. That sucks.
Like, who was a creator you looked up to when you were a kid?
Connor Franta.
Where are they now?
Connor's still posting videos, but he started multiple businesses since then, and I think he's doing mostly photography right now. Like he's photographing like Billie Eilish's and like that.
Nice. What did you always wish Connor would have done?
I mean, Connor's content is pretty cool. I think it's what I've mostly been inspired by forever. But I wish he would have he kind of dropped off making content after a while because at first he was doing more he was one of do you know what O2L was?
No, what's that?
Dude, oh my god. Okay, O2L is a huge it was the boy band of YouTube in 2014.
Okay.
And there was O2L and then there's the British boy band too.
So they were kind of like the Beatles of their time or the BTS of their time.
Yeah, it was the Tyler Oakley wasn't in O2L, but he's kind of in that group.
Okay.
And a bunch of other people like that. And Connor was one of them. So his content at the beginning was more classic 2014 skits and stuff like that. And then he came out in like 2014, maybe, I don't know. And after he came out, his content changed a lot because he started doing what he actually liked and stuff, and he left that group. And that's when I really started liking his stuff because it got really artsy and. But that's also when he started dropping off of YouTube a little bit. He just stopped posting as often. But I really liked how he did more like. It was really like creative. Like sometimes he just do like these visual, almost like poem creative things.
Narrative and okay.
And then it switched to just still kind of similar style to what he did before, mostly personality based. But I think the reason why I liked him so much is because it was very like authentic to him.
Do you know what's performed on your channel and what I've always enjoyed about your channel?
The Spider-Verse.
No, it's that, but what it captures is that somebody like at home in their bedroom without tens of thousands of dollars at their disposal can make the same dope stuff that the biggest people in the world are making. And the thing is, I think that is original in the sense that you may not have come up with their idea, but the thing is, you can execute on their idea and produce a similar result that people would say is, oh, that's pretty close, or I wouldn't have known the difference. And that thing is, I think that inspires young people like you to try. And that's why I've always liked about your content. I know you kind of sometimes feel hung up on, well, am I just a copycat of someone if I do that? But the thing is, I think it's inspiring to people that look up to all the same people you look up to say, is it possible for me to also make something that looks that good or feels that good?
Yeah.
And so I don't think you should shy away from trying to recreate other people's style and content or aesthetic or thing, because that's how people learn to make their own thing. And I like that you show that it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
And that you also show the process for deconstructing and seeing what something is. And I also like that you, in a sense, also talk about, okay, this is harder than I thought, or this is where I screw up, or this is why I think they did.
That's like 80% of the video.
I enjoy that so much about your content because it's earnest and because everyone has this whole, I could never do that because I don't have the gear. I could never do that because I didn't go to school. I could never do that because I don't live in this place. I can never do that because I don't have friends to help me. Everybody looks at their limitations as this thing that means it's impossible. And you work with what you have and make something that's almost as good as people who have everything.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite thing to do because it's
these people with unlimited resources, you're getting like 80-90% of the same result. With like, in my opinion, if they weren't famous and you just stood the work next to each other, it would be, oh, that's pretty close to that thing. Everyone, especially of your generation, is completely blindsided by how many views and subs somebody has. If I made everybody just shoot B-roll or their A-roll of what they do or their vlog, but change out that famous person for a regular person, and like you saw, like think about, I put it to you like this. Without Jake Paul being the voice or face of any of his content, if you saw footage shot and edited by Jake Paul, like no one would be that impressed with it.
No, I'm not impressed.
Exactly. That's my point. My point. Cinematically, the biggest content creators are not great filmmakers. They're not great editors. They're not good at effects. They are most of the biggest, I hate to say it like this, most of the biggest content creators on YouTube, stripped of all of their resources and forced to shoot and edit their own content, are not better than mid-tier creators or small YouTubers. Yeah. They happen to get viral videos and make enough money. And I'm not taking anything away from them because they did hard work and hustle and they had the brains and smarts enough to take advantage of an opportunity that was presented to them. Most people presented with that opportunity would not succeed. So I'm not taking anything away. I'm not dissing anybody. What I'm saying is on raw skill, most of the creators with 1 million subscribers, with very few exceptions, do not edit better than you, Audrey, and do not shoot better than you, Audrey, and do not know their way around a camera or Adobe the way that you do, they cannot create that Miles Morales animation style effect you did. They cannot do B-roll the way that you did. They cannot break down aesthetics, and they do not know the array of camera techniques that you know. They don't. That's why they outsource everything to better editors than them.
Yeah, but that's a whole other breed of creator. Like at
That's
that point,
fine. They're performers. What I'm saying is they've got charisma and they can perform. They're better actors, actresses, stunt men. They might even be better script writers in terms of skits.
yeah,
I'm saying without being able to perform, if they had to do the job of making content without being the star of it and perform on a skills alone level, they are mediocre at best.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's frustrating, but I mean, it's also not surprising with them.
I hired Paul because he's a better editor than me, and because he knows After Effects and I think he can make my content better. And he's faster than me despite having a physical disability, because he had to learn how to edit with a physical disability. He mastered productivity in a way I never could because I'm fully abled.
Yeah, he's so good at After Effects. It's nuts, and it looks like he
absurd.
picked it up pretty fast too.
He is a prodigy at video editing, and he hasn't peaked. He hasn't peaked in his ability. So I'm getting in early. You know what I'm saying? Like, you haven't peaked in your ability. So I like working with you on stuff. I like people who have talent I have that I don't have, or are slightly better or more knowledgeable about me at even one thing, or have one skill set that I don't have, or are more in love with something than I am and will give it more attention and detail than I can, because I'm going to focus on other things, or I want to focus on other things. And for a lot of the biggest creators, the thing is, it's their charisma, their ideas, their scripts. It's that they're not filmmakers, and that's fine. Not everyone on YouTube has to be a filmmaker. Not everyone has to be a Casey Neistat or a Marquez or a Jonathan Morrison. That's fine. But in terms of skills, like real skills, if YouTube went away, the Jonathan Morrisons, the iJustines, the Marquezes become the new agencies of record for all of the tech companies. The beauty gurus all become models and brand ambassadors and do L'Oreal campaigns.
Yeah.
But I mean, there would still be a place for the Jake and Logans, because I would, if I was at Nike or something like that, or Nerf or something like that, or Under Armour, they have a place, because the thing is, they still are good athletes at the end of the day. They're still very athleticism. They're still, you know what I'm saying? Everlast should have done a deal with them on the YouTube boxing stuff. It was a missed opportunity.
That's
You don't have to
true.
like them to respect that that's a good play.
I mean, maybe they just didn't want to be associated.
That's fair too, but I don't think so, considering the douchebags in sports. Sports, you can be a douchebag.
True.
Like, I mean, you may not know a lot about how that works in boxing, but most boxing dudes are like, and the WWE is all about, in many cases, being a douchebag.
I mean, isn't McGregor like one of the biggest guys, and he's been in jail? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So like that's that. So that's a whole nother. See, the thing is, that's why I think the Pauls would have been perfect for an athletic brand. And I felt like they should have pivoted to sports based challenges and their athleticism instead of trying to pander to children, because sports is universal. They would have got the mix of young and old audience, and it wouldn't have mattered how douchey they are, because they're not any more douchey than any basketball, football, or boxing person. So it would, you know,
missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, somebody dropped the ball there, but the thing, it's such a good fit, but that's just the marketer in me, though. Yeah. But what I was saying, you know, and what I like is I think that, I know it's hard to not focus on the views and the subscribers and how, like, but I think that when you make the thing that you like the most, you'll attract the people who also like it. And in your case, if you're breaking down these things about like how creators create, there are people who already look up to those people, and I think they'll look up to you because it's like you at least tried to see if you could measure up to that and do something that is even remotely close, but then you're also showing it's possible. And I think you'll inspire so many people to just try, you know. and to
That's the goal with my whole channel, basically. Just to inspire people.
but everything you do, I think, can and should reflect that.
Yeah.
And I think that you've gotten so caught up in the expectations of other people that you're not pursuing your mission first.
Yeah.
See how I looped everything back around?
Yeah, that worked.
The mission has to come first, Audrey Ember.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. That was really helpful.
I'm down to chill for a few more minutes. Anything else you want?
Oh.
And I want to hear from you. Like, what are you thinking? What's going through your head right now?
Well, this is kind of off topic. Well, not really.
That's cool.
But,
It's whatever.
I want to make a video on Casey.
Okay.
Like Bring the Fire, but I don't want it to be similar to Sarah's because
Guess what? Here's the thing: it can't be similar to Sarah's because Casey has changed in the last 4 years dramatically, and you're both in California.
I want to make something about how he's just so like timeless.
Then do it.
He started daily vlogging again. Have you been watching him?
Yes, I have.
It's
I need
awesome.
to text him about that actually.
So like I want to make a video and like I don't know exactly what it's gonna be yet. I'll obviously try and like I've always wanted to, but I guess I've been like Sarah.
But now there's a good reason because he started daily vlogging again.
I know.
And that you can capitalize on that. So like if you make a Casey video, what would it be about? What would be the theme?
First, it would be themed like a Casey Neistat video. First of all,
but now a Casey Neistat video is different.
California Casey Neistat video.
California Casey is different than New York Casey.
Yeah. And then
I wish I could float you so much money to literally, and I wish there wasn't COVID because I would help you make, I would fly with you to New York and help you make the New York version versus the California version.
That'd be so fun. Well, we could do that at some point.
We'll do that after the world stops ending. With whatever's left in the new world, when the new world arrives, you and I will do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That will be our collab.
But I don't know exactly what I want to talk about yet. I haven't started writing an outline or anything, but I think the point is going to be like something about timeless, like what makes a YouTuber be like someone that even, how long has it been? I don't even know, but so many years later and it's still like, oh, Casey's vlogging again. And you see all these like people commenting who have grown channels since then. Just the amount of people.
Why Casey Neistat is winning.
Why Casey Neistat never goes away.
or like why Casey Neistat will outlive us all. like the immortal Casey Neistat.
The immortal. Oh god.
The indestructible Casey Neistat. The indestructible Casey Neistat. Yeah.
I can't do that though, because see, I was like, I need to get his glasses and post for a thumbnail, but that's literally what Sarah did. I can't do that.
No, you can. Yeah, absolutely can. But also the thing is, one, you absolutely can. And then two, but the thing is, Sarah's video was very, and that thumbnail was good, but it wasn't great. You now know how to, because the thing is, but also Casey's thumbnails have changed a little bit. Casey's thumbnails have said, like, no shade, Sarah, who I will be talking to tomorrow anyway, for my podcast. So that one will not be live. We'll record it and then upload it. But the thing about that is Casey's thumbnails are different than they were in 2016. Casey is different. You can use the current Casey vibe. By the way, you know how many people still make videos about Casey? You're fine. Stop worrying. You know, I think your biggest thing is you're worried about people thinking you copied something versus worrying about whether you did it better.
That's true. I can't deny that one.
Just do it better. Yeah. You know, Casey did a thumbnail where he literally copied Matt Diavella.
But he did?
Showing you what happened to me, it looks exactly like a Matt Diavella thumbnail.
Let's see if I can figure out which one it is.
Here,
they're so close to his face now. What the hell?
Here, you can literally use, if you want, you can pop my screen share on there. There's a thing where it says share. Like, because I did it. Huh?
Is it with the one where he's lying in bed?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I love how I was like, yep, it's that one.
Yep.
Hold on. How do I do screen share? There you go.
Yeah. So, for people looking, it's the one in the corner there. Hang on. Let me zoom.
Top right one.
Zoom, enhance, and now it's no longer top right. Now it's this one.
Yeah. I was like immediately. Do you think
That's
he would
like, yeah, boom, Matt Diavella thumbnail. Like,
I don't think so, but it definitely looks similar.
yeah. So now you get, and by the way, he's wearing different shades. He's wearing different shades. So now it's with the little whole purple thing, that purple polar thing. So now that's different than when Sarah was doing it. So it's like, you know.
I should recreate the top right one where he's just like peeking around the corner.
No one will recognize that one. I know why you want, and it's clever and it's cute. You like making these cute thumbnails and clever, but the thing is, your stuff is so clever sometimes. Like, so here's the thing: recreate this one.
Yeah, I love how I saw that one too, and I was like, that one's.
What just happened? Recreate that one. Recreate that one. I think you should make the thumbnail before you even make the video.
Yeah. I'll send you some different versions.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
I mean, Casey's thumbnails, they're getting like progressively closer to his face.
I know, right? Like, this GoPro one was genius. The GoPro one was genius.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I think, you know what? I think he used
kind of looks like
a
David
Sony camera for that one for sure.
Yes, I noticed that recent. I don't know if it was
that was the A7S3. I guarantee you that was. I'll ask him. That was the Sony A7S3. There's no way it's not.
I mean, was he using Sony before?
Sometimes, but then he went back to Canon, and that he's flip flop. But I think he's gonna be. I think he's Team Sony now.
Dang.
I think we'll finally want to move it to the dark side. Sony Alpha. I'm wearing my Sony Alpha hat right now.
I mean, I'm not loyal to either, so I'm not gonna say nothing.
I'm buying more Oh, here's a fun thing. People are gonna be mad at me for being spoiled and shit. Like, how
dare you buy cameras?
I pre-ordered back in July, was it, or something? I pre-ordered the A7S III. So I pre-ordered the A7S III.
Nice. When
they announced the A7C, I pre-ordered that. That comes out in October.
Okay.
So, and
aren't they kind of? I mean, I don't want to say kind of similar because people are going to get triggered, but
no. I'll explain their differences if you want. But I also went ahead. So I pre-ordered those. So like, I think next week or the week after, the A7S III will be shipping, and they'll charge my card for that, and that's fine. That one's like, I'm teasing a video that I'm making, but I technically, this camera after taxes is $3,707, but I'm technically only paying $207 for it.
My.
See, I figured out what Graham Stephan figured out, and that's why I'm making that video, and that's why that's going to be the clickbait. I'll tell you off air. Huh? What?
Are you gonna make a video on it and then sell it?
I'm gonna make a video on it. I'm not selling it though. I'm keeping it. Because the thing is, like, I'll put it to you like this. I figured out how to explain to people the actual cost of an investment in your gear, in your business for the first year that you buy it. And how to get a return on the investment of your gear. That's why the video will be clickbait, but it's like, just like Graham Stephan got his Tesla for $78 a month, I got my Sony A7S III for $207.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
But there's some very creative math that allows that for me.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you about it off camera, but they need to watch the video when it comes out at the end of the month. Now I ordered the end of October is when the A7C ships. And I'm going to, by the way, be doing my camera stuff. By the way, my camera stuff is coming back to my main channel because screw it. And those videos used to perform really well on the main channel. And I love that anyway. So, and people have been asking about gear. And I'm like, look, you want to know how to grow a channel? That's one thing. And like, no, you don't need the best gear in the world. And I said that. But here are all the good things that gear does to improve your content. And here's how you guys need to actually just film better videos. And I'm going to do some of that. And then I'm going to do the creator gear guide stuff because the thing that didn't perform on my channel was unboxing videos, and I like doing unboxing videos. Creator Gear Guide, new channel, small channel, I get to do unboxing videos and I get to do first impressions and I get to do everything about a camera that I like whenever I want, or a laptop that I like whenever I want, or a gimbal that I bought whenever I want, and not worry that much about how it performs or how it affects the main channel in some way. And then later I can incorporate some of that footage and tease it and carry over and cross between it's just going to be nice for me. And then with Paul editing my main channel now, I get to start,
You have more time to work on that stuff.
Exactly, and have fun with that. And then like eventually, like if he wants more work and more money, I can be like, hey, once in a while edit these, and and then I just make content and not edit anymore, like, or something. Or then I start editing, because Real Talk with Roberto Blake will be almost unedited, because it's Real Talk with Roberto Blake, but it lets me talk about personal development stuff, but also financial personal finance and personal development is going to be the theme mostly of that channel. Plus also me reacting to things that happen in the world that I get mad or passionate about. So it's going to be, here are rants, here's personal development, and here's personal finance. And that's Real Talk with Roberto Blake. And it's like, there you go. So I just need an outlet, and like I can do Real Talk with Roberto Blake episodes once a week or more if I want. That's not hard.
If it, yeah.
Huh?
That's a separate channel, right?
Yep. Because the thing is, remember, the plan with that was for me to have IRL conversations, and then COVID happened. Yeah, so now I have to pivot.
I mean, you can do it on Zoom.
Huh? It's not the same vibe in terms of the video quality.
That's true. Okay.
That's why the podcast has been revived, is I can schedule once a week conversations, and then I'm having someone edit the podcast too. Initially, I have someone who's editing the next 4 podcast interviews, and then I have to figure out what to do after that for the interviews. But I'm also live streaming to the podcast channel once a week as well. So usually on Wednesday morning. So I have this really absurd new content schedule, but now I have a team to support it. But
yeah, I feel like just having an editor will give you so much more time.
Yeah. But here's the final nail in the coffin on why people are going to kind of be mad at me. Mm-hmm. So I ordered these 2 cameras, and yes, they're a month like apart, and it spreads out the expense, and that's fine. But also I can justify it. I've got some brand deal stuff happening too, and I've got like some I like this stuff. It's a tax write-off, and it's my money, but I also bought, like, not pre-ordered, I bought the Fuji X-T4 with what is it, the 18 to 80 lens or 16 to 80 lens? What is it like?
Oh, that sounds like a pretty good, like, that's a good range.
Yeah, and it's an f4 lens. It's an f4 lens.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
No, okay. F4 is really good if it's...
Yeah, I mean, that's a personal preference thing.
For photography, at those focal lengths, f4 is... like there's certain lenses that are available for the Fuji, and I will get other lenses for it later, but for the versatility of that range, and then if you're depending on what you're shooting, especially with Fuji cameras, it's more of an outdoor thing, which means you're going to have at f4 you're going to have depth of field, you're going to have bokeh, and you can there's certain aspects of it you can do in post too that enhance that, but you can get a lot of depth actually. Audrey, did you know that right now with all this bokeh in my background that I'm shooting at f4 right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of looks like... I mean, I'm not saying f4 doesn't have bokeh. I'm just... I guess for me personally, I like the 2.8.
No, I love that 2.8. I am about that life. But... like, you have to... With the Fuji stuff, there's only so many... Huh?
You get more range normally too, right? Like
it depends. Like with Fuji, there's with Fuji, they have a good variety of lenses. It's not inexpensive though, and there's you're down back to your usual trinity of 12 to 24, 24 to 70, etc. But that gets like expensive. So the thing is, I'm embracing, as far as, rather than just get a kit lens with a lot of these other cameras that's not my main Sony system, because like if I want f2.8 and all that stuff, excuse me, if I'm buying stuff out of pocket, like I get all the Sony glass, and that I have a lot of f1.8 and f1.4 Sony lenses, so that that's my main kit, But for auxiliary cameras that I think could just be fun to shoot certain things with, and for like an outdoor camera, like outdoors, except in certain situations or unless it's like low light, there's not a point if you're shooting stuff that might be landscape, for example.
Yeah.
There's no point in shooting you don't like, you're better off with a better range than a lower f-stop, you know?
See, you're more of a photographer than me for sure.
I'm definitely more of a photographer than I am a video. Like, I like, my cameras have to prioritize video, but I have the longest relationship with photography. I've been doing that since I was 10, so that's my whole life. And I always wanted to not to be famous, but I always wanted to be a world-class photographer. And I think that that's part of where the selfishness of my art is like, you saw like the stuff I did when I went to Glacier National Park. You saw my like landscape stuff.
Yeah.
And like, people were surprised that I could have been a good wildlife photographer.
Did you post this on Instagram?
I posted some on Instagram, but I posted more on Twitter, I think, than on Instagram. But I did post some of that stuff from Camera Camp. But I also have a lot of stuff no one's ever seen too. And when COVID's over, or if I can travel safely to some national parks during COVID, I have a goal kind of I want to go to and film at all the national parks in the country, which is a big bucket list goal. But I also have this thing to where I want to release a coffee table book more than I would want to be Instagram famous.
That would be awesome. You should do it.
I'm working on it. But, you know, I've also been trying to encourage Jenna, because Jenna's a really good photographer. Justine's sister, Jenna Izarak.
Yeah.
She is such a good photographer that I've been trying to encourage her, because she does travel so much, to release a coffee table book, because I will buy it and I'll promote the hell out of it.
What are those called? No, it's not the same as a coffee table book. There's a name for like those little like
photo book.
No, I'm blanking on what it's called. It's like a fancy name.
Probably, but I don't remember. But like, I want to do something like that, because to me, that's the like. But I'm old, so like that for me, that's what being acknowledged is like, oh, you made a book of your photography, and people can have it on their coffee table and they can buy it in a store. And I don't have to be a bestseller. It just has to exist, you know? And and I want to sell my prints as well, to where people can buy my prints of, like, I'll put together like a Shopify where people can like just buy prints of my landscape photography or my conceptual photography, and buy like these mountain ranges or these Great Lakes or these, you know, I want to do that, and that be something that's left of me, regardless of what happens in the world or what the internet is or what, like, it's like, I've always wanted to,
That's your artsy side speaking.
Yeah. I mean, so like, I know that like there's a generation of people that they feel their legacy is getting like 1 million subscribers or something like that. And I'm like, that's the corner of the internet and the world and everything like that. Like, being in print is to be immortalized. Like, having a byline is to be immortalized. Like, I mean, they can delete your YouTube channel, you know, like, and it happens. It's like, I mean, I won't name his name, but like, there was a content creator recently, a large content creator, and his legacy was basically erased from the internet.
That sounds terrifying.
Well, I'll talk to you about who it was, but it's like, it was somebody with like 5 million subscribers, like, and his legacy was erased essentially from the internet. Aside from the videos other people made about him, his content and what he did for like the last couple of years doesn't really exist anymore.
Did he get hacked?
Huh? No. Terminated.
Oh, I know who that is.
Okay. So
is it who I think it is?
Probably. But the thing is, that's happened to at least a handful of people, but people should take that seriously.
Yeah.
And they should think about, like, because I understand the value more than most people about being an interneter. Like, I understand what it is to be an internet creator, a digital first creator. I understand. But I don't think people, while appreciating that and all the advantages, I think there's a tremendous and a wrongful disrespect for legacy media.
Yeah.
I think there's a tremendous disrespect for the art and craft of print work. I think there's a tremendous disrespect for film photography. I think that there's
Have you
what?
printed some of your photos before?
What's that?
Have you printed some of your pictures?
Yeah, and I'm actually doing more of that. And when the world is like less, crazy, the next time you visit me, or whatever, if I'm in a new house or whatever, you'll get to see some of my, especially some of the never seen before photography. You'll get to see it in prints on the walls, because I'm printing, like, I want, there's like sections of my house in some ways, like how this here is more about inspiration to me of other people's work and stuff like that. But there's going to be sections of the place that's kind of more of a gallery and a history of my own legacy and like things I've made and like homages to that. And, I'm also going to start sending, I'll probably send you a print of some of my stuff, if you want,
I'll put
like
it
some
on
of
my
my photography.
on my limited wall space.
Yeah.
I want to print some of my stuff too. Do you know any like good places to do
Oh
that?
yeah, tons. There's a lot of them. I like right now, I mean, there's a couple places I experiment all the time and everything. But some of them are a little bit better than others, but I want to check and see if Jared Poland is recommending anyone new, because he put me onto a lot of good places to do prints.
Yeah. Oh my god, we've been going for almost an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay, yeah. We'll start wrapping up here. But is there anything on your mind or anything else you want to ask me before we go?
I don't think so. I feel like what you said was really helpful. Because I think the biggest thing that you said that like clicked a lot was why I've been hitting a wall is because I was worried too much about the outcome. That's
Yeah.
pretty true.
I mean, that goes for that's literally every creator though, myself included, by the way. Like, but there's a point where you just have to make the best thing you feel you can make, and the thing that you feel, this thing deserves to exist. This thing is a child that I have to give birth to, and consequences be damned.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been like, I feel like I need a plan for a while now, but I don't think that's gonna work for me.
I
I
don't
think
think, the thing is, again, I don't think you need a plan as much as you need permission to just make whatever the hell feels good, but make it dope as hell.
yeah.
Don't hold back. You have my permission to stop holding back. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to like unleash your creativity on the world. Consequences be damned.
Okay, I'll have to find some of those Casey glasses.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun.
Add him in Twitter and just ask him like where he gets his glasses, like where he gets his shades. I'm not even
Hey,
joking.
where did you get your glasses from? That's actually a good idea. I'll do that.
Yeah, do that. Like, but just unleash your creativity, like, and consequences be damned. And that goes for the rest of you in the audience, by the way. Unleash your creativity, and consequences be damned. And I'm telling you, to a certain extent, that's what the biggest creators always do.
Yeah.
Casey blew up partly off of the back of making videos that expressed his frustrations or his insecurities. And then he just told dope stories about them instead of just ranting at the camera like I tend to do. He made narrative, constructive, creative, visually appealing films expressing his ideas, his frustrations, his fears, and insecurities. And that's what he did for a very long time when he was Casey Neistat filmmaker, before he was Casey Neistat vlogger. And even when he became Casey Neistat vlogger, he very much was still doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
He just changed the format and set the new goalpost of creatively challenging himself to do 24-hour film challenges, basically. For a long time, his channel, Casey Neistat's channel, basically became 24-hour film challenges.
Yeah. Just daily 24-hour film challenges.
Consecutive,
with-
nonstop 24-hour film challenges.
Yeah, that sounds a little intense.
That he's an intense person. He doesn't do things halfway. He does things extreme or not at all.
Like, even when I was watching his video today, he like got the drone up so many times, and I was just like, oh my god, I would be like he put the drone up to pull into the gas station, and I was just like, that's so like when you're
so extra.
It's just so extra.
That's so extra. But again, he chooses to live his life on that, and it's his process. His process for expressing himself is to do so. He will find the most extreme version of expressing even a mundane thought, because that makes it interesting.
Yeah,
it's also the form of storytelling that he grew up with, because remember, me and Romina are having you watch television shows and movies that we grew up with that are also the movies that Casey and all your favorite creators grew up with. And then you can kind of start to understand their inspirations. And if you remember, like when you're watching The Wonder Years, that's an old like TV sitcom slice of life thing. But if you think about it, they also cinematically captured the most mundane parts of childhood and were able to make them interesting.
Yeah.
Even visually interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Just by choosing a certain angle or a certain lighting choice or some sound design in music changed something from, oh, this is a dream to, oh, this is a nightmare. And it was easily communicated very seamlessly.
Yeah.
Simplicity in choices. Because if you really look at it, drone aside, the thing that I marvel at with Casey, and the reason Sarah was able to make the video she was able to make mimicking his thing, is because it's about these intentional choices that really are not magic, but when they're executed well, they feel like it.
Yeah.
Think about the fact that it's not that difficult to position a camera far away and shoot yourself taking a fold-up table, assembling it in the weirdest place you possibly can, pulling out a laptop, sitting down, and then...
But that's before Casey.
And then moving the camera... I know, it is before Casey, but think about it. And then moving the camera closer to you, and then doing the thing, but then setting that up and doing that over and over again. The thing is, the process of doing that is not technically complicated. The process of editing it and jump cutting it in exactly the right way is not even that complicated. But again, the intention and the thoughtfulness and the execution of it makes it very interesting to do, even though it's to watch, even though it's just a very rudimentary and mechanical process. The thing is, most people just wouldn't bother with the extra effort.
Yeah.
He went out of his way for the bit. Being extra made it interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Being extra, but if you watched it in real life, it's not that interesting. If you watched it in real time, if you're there on set, it's a boring thing to do. It's a very tedious and frustrating process to get that 20 seconds of it being interesting before you get into a Q&A.
Yep. This video is going to be interesting. I have to channel some of that extra energy. Get some borderline unnecessary drone shots. But they're not necessary.
Wait, you have a drone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I also bought the Mavic Air 2.
I got that one too. It's so good.
Yeah, I just bought that. So I'm like, I just bought 3 cameras and a drone like a madman.
What are you gonna use all those cameras for? Well, you're gonna make reviews on them first.
Well, I am going to, because here in Atlanta, I can go to the mountains, even with COVID, because of social distancing, and people can't do that during regular work hours like I can. I can do some very interesting things, and I'm reaching out to some models who know how to still work with social distancing conditions in play, and I'm paying them, and I'm paying my sisters to help me film like camera test shoots with models where I do photography and I show you the behind the scenes of a photo shoot to illustrate the quality of a camera and a lens.
Yeah.
And I can use that footage indefinitely. And also these models will get some really good shots for their portfolio, and they're getting paid for their time, and it's a win-win. My sisters are getting some experience with filming for their gigs because one of my sisters actually is starting to work in social media behind the scenes.
That's cool.
And so I'm like paying her part-time to learn how, like, kind of a paid internship type deal. And then my other sister, I recently hired her part-time to help as an office manager, to help organize things like the gear closet, the studio B downstairs in the basement, and also help me with some organizational task around here. Because I didn't want to lose the 20 and 30 minutes on little tedious things here around the office anymore. It's worth paying her to do that. So, because she's still doing, she's still trying to do her startup. So, that gives her like a source of an ability to invest into that, you know, and I pay well.
That's cool.
So, yeah. Like it sucks because I'll talk to you about it offline, but it's like, I'll say this. It's like, I pay well, and arguably as a result of that, I sometimes still don't bother to hire for things. I don't hire for anything that I can justify paying less than $15 an hour for. And it's a shame because I probably should, but I won't. And it's not because I believe in a $15 minimum wage. It's because other people do.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there are some things that just frankly, there's no ROI to paying that for the task that it is. And as someone who used to work for $6 an hour, I know that, but I also understand how people feel about it. And that's just in some ways easier to say, that's just a job I won't hire for then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is, you know? And that just, it reminds me, because Philip DeFranco had an opportunity, but it was like, it was, I won't say it was about working for exposure, but Philip DeFranco, he used to be a server, you know, so he knows what a crappy job looks like and stuff like that. But he had something that was more of a, here's an opportunity, but it wasn't like a paid opportunity, but it really would give you experience, and it really would give you connections, and it really would do something for you. But people tried to socially shame him because of how they think he's so rich and he should do this. And they tried to, basically everybody decided how to spend his money for him. And he said, you know what? I have friends and people in the industry who will do the thing that I'm asking that won't even charge me and at all. And so instead of hooking someone up with a dope opportunity and getting some new blood and getting them connected in the industry, I'm literally going to give an opportunity to somebody who doesn't even need it because you guys made it too much trouble by tweeting. And so there you go.
Sad.
Somebody who wanted it, who can work for free, who wanted an in to get their foot in the door, would do anything, just like an absurd Mr. Beast challenge. If I'll do whatever it takes to get the thing or whatever, doesn't get to do that because people decide that it's better to socially shame somebody and figure out how to spend their money than to let people who are happily to say, I don't feel exploited by this. I have been waiting for something like this. I can have it. I can do it. They let all the people who can't afford to do that be the reason that that person can't even try. And they robbed a potential opportunity that would have changed somebody's life because of everyone else's life who wouldn't be changed or can't do that. You see what I'm saying? And Phil just decided, y'all made it too much trouble to create an opportunity for somebody who's new blood. You guys made it too much trouble. And I'm sorry that whoever wanted that or whoever was applying to that and said, yes, pick me, doesn't get to have that now, and that I can give it to a friend with no hassle.
Yep. That's just sad.
It's sad, but that's the game now. That's the game now because people want to figure out how to tell everyone how to do their job and how to spend their money and how to hire and how to run their business and how their industry works from the sidelines. Everybody wants the Monday morning quarterback somebody else's job and somebody else's life and hold them, project their standards onto them when nobody asks them how do you think I should live my life? People feel entitled to do that to public figures for the sin of, frankly, working more for their dreams than them.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, I think we should wrap up.
That
was a good.
That's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Whoops.
Thanks
everyone who's been watching so long. Some of these people have been here since the beginning.
Oh, well, that's dope. We super appreciate you guys. But I've got my outro, I believe.
Okay. Go for it.
Thank you for listening to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and don't even mention Romina behind her back the entire time. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe and check us out 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish when we hopefully will return as a trio instead of a duo. Thank you so much. This has been your two hosts, down by one, Audrey Unleash the Kraken Ember, and of course, your favorite Dark Lord of the internet, your favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Roberto Blake. Thank you so much for listening. No audience members were harmed in the filming of this podcast, though we can't say the same about a missing Romina. Thank you so much. Please make sure that you're leaving us a review in iTunes and whenever Spotify decides to do their damn job. And of course, please make sure that you are subscribed to us on YouTube. Thank you for listening. NARP.